Hi there everyone, this is Bob Martin with RCSub.com and the Nautilus Dry Docks, and welcome to the next chapter in the construction of this 1/32 scale OTW German Type VII U-boat submarine. This chapter is going to focus on probably what is the most important aspect of RC sub construction, and that is the trimming of the model. And by trimming, I'm referring to the addition of foam and ballast to the model to put it into the correct trim when it is both surfaced and submerged. And it is probably as complicated a procedure as it sounds because it's tricky. And if it's not done correctly, the boat will never handle properly. It'll never be fun to operate, and if it's not trimmed properly, the odds of losing it get quite high because you're going to lose control of it, potentially. Well, you can't see it, and you don't want that to happen. So in order to get ready for that, I have my completed hull, my dive module, radio system. This is all set to go. It's going to be installed inside. The materials that I'm going to use, this is construction foam. It's closed cell. You can get it in 4x8 sheets at any home hardware store. So this is going to be our flotation material. You can also use, and I may use in this model, spray foam, construction spray foam, to get into nooks and crannies to add additional flotation to areas that are hard to get to with a block of foam. The other thing that you're going to need is weight. Now, I've also already got a series of these lead ingots in the keel of the submarine to add weight down there. But the other things you can use, I found these strips of lead that you can bend to shape. You can cut them really easily. The other thing that you can use are these fishing weights. Come in different sizes and weights. These are great for smaller models. And then one of the more versatile things is this lead pellets. The neat thing about this is you can mix it with resin, lay it down in the hull, and it won't take up very much room at all. So let's talk about the idea behind trimming an RC model. The most important thing to remember is weight goes low, foam goes high. When we start out, we are going to make sure that all of our weight is in the keel, and all of our foam, our flotation, is installed below the water line. That's really important because when I start out, I'm going to trim this in surface trim, and the only thing that should be coming into play should be in the water. Everything above the water line will be above it. So we don't want to play with that quite yet. So all of the foam that I install is going to be below the water line. So let's get started, and we'll see if we can make this thing float and sink. Okay, let's take a look and see what I got going on there. This is the bow section. And if we take a close look, you can see I got some of those pieces of pink foam wedged in there in the bow underneath the torpedo launcher. In the base there, and I've got a big chunk of blue underneath the battery. Now, that's a lot of foam in the bow, and unfortunately it needed to rest a little low, but that'll be fine because I got a lot of weight very low in the hull to help offset it. But this is where the battery sits, and so we're going to have a lot of weight that we need to offset. It doesn't necessarily need to be right on the battery, but it needs to be in the model, and this is just a convenient place for me to start. So I've got that done here so far. You can see some of the blocks that I've cut, getting ready for installation. Here's the stern section. I've got some foam blocks cut and installed there, and I'm using silicone to hold that all in place. I got long strips that run along the sides of the hull, about where the saddle tanks are, the ballast tanks are. These are just temporary in here to hold it tight while it sets. So this is what I got going on. We are going to let that set up. I'm going to continue installing foam when and where we can. And once that's all done, we throw it in the water and we see how close this guesstimate was for the amount of foam and weight, and take it from there.
All right, we are going to do some testing of the main watertight cylinder to make sure that there are no leaks before I get into the trimming portion of the procedure. So what I've got here is the cylinder itself, main drive battery that has been waterproofed, and my transmitter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hook everything up, dump the cylinder in the water, and we're going to look for bubbles. Hope that there isn't any. There's the main power connection. You can see on my display right there, it's reading a 0 amp draw and 12.6 volts on the battery, meaning that we've got a charge. I want you also to realize that the way that this works, basically this pump is going to draw water in through this hose here and pump it into this cylinder. And what's going to end up happening, water level is going to rise, air pressure inside the cylinder is going to increase. And so it's very important that we fill up the ballast tank, look for bubbles. Again, hopefully there isn't going to be any. If so, we will address them. And if not, we will move on to trimming. You can see that the cylinder is actually very positively buoyant. It's about 50% of it is above the water, so I'm going to have to force it down with my hands. But what I'm going to do in the meantime here, I'm just going to dunk the front, turn the pump on. So you can see it there, there's water getting sucked into the ballast tank, slowly filling up. See a very tiny leak right here. It's probably because I've got a little piece of sawdust or something in the O-ring seal. Cylinder is about 2/3 of the way full, and it's maxed out. So other than that one spot right there, there are no bubbles, no evident leaks of any kind. So we'll let this come back up to the surface here, and you can see it's floating quite a bit lower than it was before. So what we're going to do is vent the tank. Water's, of course, getting expelled through the front there from inside the ballast tank. This system is really nice in that it has an automatic shutoff for when the ballast tank is empty, or full for that matter. And that's it. Tank is empty, ballast tank is dry, cylinder is in good shape. I am going to call this a success once I address that small little pinhole leak in the O-ring seal, so we're good to go.
Okay, we are at D-Day for trimming. Once the sun comes up, we're going to get this thing in the swimming pool and see how my preliminary installation of the flotation foam has worked out. Model is all set here right now to get dunked. Everything is all set up and secured. The cylinder is inside. I want to show you this really quickly. This is a little Kriegsmarine Flag that I created. This is just made from paper printed on a standard inkjet printer. It's double-sided. I adhered both sides together with white construction glue and then laminated the exterior of it with the same adhesive. Let that dry, and then while it was doing that, I pinched the leading edge in a clamp and another one on the back, and I just wanted to drape it so it looked a little bit more realistic. I think it turned out really good. Once that was all done, I hit it with 2 coats of matte clear lacquer, so that should keep it nice and waterproof, in theory anyway. So what I'm going to do here right now, I'm getting my trimming kit put together. I've just got an old plastic toolbox, and this is what I'm going to bring to the side of the pool. I've got some lead rod, a couple of pieces of that, although if anything I'm thinking foam is probably what I'm going to be after. A couple of these lead ingots that I showed you guys, some cutters for cutting that lead rod nice and easily, utility knife for cutting all of my styrofoam. So I'll bring this out to the side of the pond, and the idea is we'll drop it in the water and try and place additional foam or lead wherever we need to get the proper trim. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, model is in the water. Now, as you can see, the front, the bow, is just about bang on, which is surprising to me because I thought I was going to be heavy up there, and the stern is about 1 inch too high. I got a lot of foam in that tail section there, so I'm gonna remove it here in a minute, and we'll see what that does. But overall, actually really happy with it. One thing I really don't like is when you get things in there and you find out you need to add significantly more foam, because the trick is, of course, finding room for it all. So let's see what happens when I remove a bit of foam from the aft section. Okay, I think I have this about where I want it. Now it's sitting a little low right now because I've got a little bit of water in the ballast tank, but you can see that we are on nice level surfaced trim. Next step is to switch on the ballast system, and let's see what happens when we get a little bit of water in there. What we're looking for is nice, even, actually it's going really, really well. That's perfectly flat so far. Ballast tank is filling. Decks are awash. I'm just going to turn off. And she went down. So I just put a little bit more air in the tank. So what this is telling me is I need some foam in the aft section above the water line. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to grab some foam, tuck it under the tail, and see if we can get this thing just at where the conning tower is sitting, just about right here. And we'll see what we can make happen. Alright, I think I have the basic trimming down. You can always tweak this later after you get it in operation and see how it works, but I'll drop it in the water, show you guys what it looks like. Okay, this is full surfaced trim. Ballast tank is empty. You can see the water line is conforming to the painted water line. And I'm going to fill the ballast tank up. So it's filling now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop it just when the decks become awash. So we're on a fairly even keel. Really long, narrow hulls are tricky to get statically stable because ideally you want the foam directly above your ballast so that it pulls up, the weight pulls down, and that helps steady the model. But because this is so long, you have to put foam, ahead or behind. But you can see, again, we're fairly level here right now, and if I were to be operating this at the lake, this would be about as full as I would want my ballast tank to be. Because of this, just a very slight forward movement with some down planes will pull the model underneath the water, and then that way if there's any problems, you've always got a little bit of reserve buoyancy here to bring it back up again. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. I'm going to pull it out, let it dry, and once that's done, I will finish securing the new weight and the new foam inside, and we should be ready for lake trials.